Way to start our Sunday morning. Thank you, Sarah and Doug. I'm Reverend Bonnie, the community spiritual leader here at the center, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to this space where our vision is a world in loving partnership for the good of all. And anyone who's visiting for the first time, there are visitor packets at both doors, so please help yourself. There is a gift certificate to the bookstore in there, so make sure you look inside before you leave. So, once again, our dear Geneva has passed away. And so I'm going to try my best to read to you the last words that she sent out. I don't know how many of you probably got her Holding Consciousness emails. She sent them out every day. And what I do know is that she was here Sunday morning. She was happy. She gave lots of us hugs. And she sent this out on Tuesday morning, and she was found Tuesday afternoon. So she went out the way I think most of us want to go. No suffering, no hanging around. She just went. So here's what she says that morning. Dear hearts, it takes courage to be done with the old and seek the new. That's Joel Goldsmith. When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. Viktor Frankl. It's only after we stepped out of our comfort zone that we begin to change, grow, and transform. And that's Roy Bennett. And I see my life as an unfolding set of opportunities to awaken. And that's Ram Dass. She sealed it. Love, peace, and gratitude, Geneva. So that was her last message to all of us. So it is with a sense for me, I'm grateful that she didn't linger. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for who she was in our lives. We will be celebrating her life April 2nd, I believe, at 2 o'clock here at the center. And at the same time, we miss her. I mean, she was such a light. She's been my support for many, many years, long before I even started here. So we truly, truly miss her. And she's was in the practitioner training with Tina and Doug, so they go way back. And she's been many of your practitioners and given many of you healing prayer throughout the years. So I know that we are missing her. Anyway, as we continue with those of us who are still here, and I'm so grateful to every one of you, and I keep imploring you, take good care, stay safe, and bless all of you. So be sure to check in our newsletter and on the website for all the things that are taking place here, and there's also some cancellations as well. So check that. I was hoping Will would be here today to thank him for a wonderful, fun play date last week. Did you all enjoy that? Who stayed? Yeah, that was wonderful. And a reminder that our next treasure sale is at the end of April, and next weekend you can start bringing things to the center. They're going to start separating things out and categorizing them so that we don't have a huge pile at the end of the month. At this time, I would like to welcome our practitioner in service. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Bob Greer. I'm your practitioner in service today. It's an honor and a privilege to be here. We believe in the power of prayer, which we call spiritual mind treatment and affirmative prayer. If you feel the call for prayer, just you can fill out a prayer form on the back of the chairs, drop it in the God can in the back. You can go to our website and fill out a prayer request there. Those are sent anonymously to actually to me and to Teresa on the prayer team, and then we share those every Tuesday when we meet with all the ministers and practitioners from the 4 New Thought centers here in Las Cruces. We're very lucky to have a big pool of people that we connect with every Tuesday and pray. Also, if you have anything that you're grateful for, if you've asked for prayer or treatment and had some a good return, we want to hear about that as well. That's always a wonderful thing. Before I get into the rest of this, I wanted to take this opportunity to something that I've been trying to get on the agenda for a while, and we finally got it. But we like to recognize people for their years of service to our spiritual center. And we have a bunch of people that have been doing this for this center for a long time. And so we want to just take a few moments here to recognize a few people. And it's practitioners and ministers. And so we're going to start with our Teresa for 5 years of service as a licensed practitioner. The folks that do this service do it because of their heart and their love, but I think it's important that we recognize them as well. The other 3, unfortunately for one of them anyway, when you do 20 years of service as a practitioner, you become what they call emeritus. You become a practitioner emeritus, and comes with a pretty significant understanding, and not a lot of them around, and we were lucky to have 3 of them here, and actually they not only have 20, this is the 10th anniversary of their emeritus status, so it's like 30. But we do, it was supposed to be for Geneva, Doug, and Tina, who all went through class together, so we're going to hold on to Geneva's and we're going to give it to her daughter, yeah. But I'd like to call forth Doug and Tina to receive these pins.
I know.
There we go. And last but not least, we have, wait a minute. No, here it is. This is the other one. I'm going to leave you this one. We have, for Bonnie, 10 years. She gets a 10-year pin. So she's been with us longer than 10, but as our official minister for 10 years. So, Bonnie.
Thank you.
Thank you. You absolutely do.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I have a little happiness here today for that. And now it's time for song, silence, and prayer.
I am surrounded by love. I am surrounded by love. I am surrounded by love. Love is who I am. I am supported by love. I am supported by love. I am supported by love. Love is who I am. This love won't let me fall. This love won't let me fall. This love won't let me fall. Love is who I am. I am a part of this love. I am a part of this love. I am a part of this love. Love is who I am. Love is who I am. This love is who I am.
Yes, and love is who I am, and is each and every person here as well. I open and embrace that loving spirit within, knowing that that divine that connects every person on this planet, everything in the universe, everything and everywhere at all times. There is one power, one presence, this loving spirit is in and through all and behind everything. So grateful to be able to know this, feel this truth. And I just bless this day knowing that everything unfolds as divinely guided, that each person here today is blessed, each person watching this is blessed. With a heart overflowing with gratitude, I simply say, and so it is. All right. For the reading, I was debating over a couple of different readings, but I decided to go with this one. This is 365 Days of Richer Living, Daily Inspirations, Ernest Holmes and Raymond Charles Parker. There's Kathy Hearn did the forward, didn't notice that until just now. And I'm actually going to read the one from today. I'm going to read part of it anyway. So it says, "Today my eyes are opened more widely and I look out upon a broader horizon. Across all the experiences I may have had which were limited or unpleasant, I now see the rosy hue of a new dawn. Letting go of that which is little, I now enter into a larger concept of life. Dropping all fear, I entertain faith, realizing that every form of uncertainty is seeing only in part. I open my spiritual eyes to that which is wholeness. And even as I do this, the limitation of fear and doubt slip away from my experience, taking their departure in quietness and in peace as I turn to that which is greater and better and fuller of eternal life, of happiness, and of peace. Today my eyes are open to the breadth and to the height and the depth of that life which is God, that life which is good, and the law which is perfect. And so it is. So I'm going to take this opportunity to introduce our guest speaker today and our music. Our music and message is from Reverend Randy Granger this morning. Reverend Randy is an ordained minister with Universal Life Seminaries and a motivational speaker, educator, workshop leader, professional musician, and licensed massage therapist of Native American ancestry. Lives here in Las Cruces and is a good friend of our center. He also practices science of mind teaching, Zen meditation, sound healing. Please welcome Reverend Randy.
I suppose I could sing from over there, but, you know. Separation of church and state and music and message. Can you give me a little more volume on this? I guess we're having troubles with that speaker a little earlier, so thank you, Carol. It's so good to be back. Thank you. You all look younger. Maybe my eyes are worse, I don't know. This is a song called Light a Candle, and it's about how we are all indeed candles. Somebody's crying and no one hears, afraid of dying and no one's near. Somebody's losing hope while the wheels of power keep turning. Light a candle in the darkness, shine a light where evil lies. Be a voice for those in silence. Speak the truth, keep hope alive. Light a candle. Somebody's trying to stop the tears. They're not giving in to threats and fears. Somebody's choosing hope while the wheels of power keep turning. Light a candle in the darkness, shine a light where evil lies. Be a voice for those in silence. Speak the truth, keep hope alive. Light a candle in the darkness, shine a light where evil caught a little of the news this morning, and I was glad that I chose that song. So this month here at CSL, in the heart of Elsie, we're talking about play. Play, spirit, and joy, and those elated ideas. Ernest Holmes, the founder of religious science, said that children are happy because they have not learned yet to be afraid. There can be no happiness where fear is. And of course, Mother Teresa, she famously said, joy is prayer, joy is strength, joy is love. Joy is a net of love by which you catch souls. Isn't that great? That's always been one of my favorite ones. Jack Kornfield, he tells a story in one of his books. He tells a story about a spiritual teacher and an African American woman who was in her year-long training group. This woman had experienced a lifetime of just trauma and poverty, abuse, the death of a parent, racism, illness, divorce from a painful marriage, and single parenting for 2 children. These difficulties just poured out of her through this year-long workshop. And she really opened up in quite a few ways. And she had struggled for years to educate herself. She fought for justice, to gradually find her way. The others in the group, they told similar stories of how the difficulties that they had in life too, and the pain and the challenges and the many ways they had also struggled. Must have been a pretty intense workshop, but finally, at the last meeting, this African American woman, she stands up and she says, you know what? After all that I've been through, after all the troubles that I've had, I'm going to do something really radical. I'm going to be happy. I'm like, yeah. I personally, just in my experience on this lifetime, I've always felt that happiness is an act of courage. I used to have that on my bathroom mirror. Happiness is an act of courage. Be courageous today, Randy. Now, joy, joy is one of those emotions that you can't quite say what it is. When you ask somebody, what's joy? Well, they'll probably say something like chocolate or, being with friends or something. It's one of those high emotions that you can't describe it, but you know it when you feel it. It's the top of the spiral, in my opinion, that you aspire to experience spontaneously. Joy is not a destination emotion. It's not one of those things that you say, okay, once I have this, or once I go there, or once I do that, I'm going to be happy, or I'm going to have some joy. It's an experience that we have all the time. It's here now, available, but it's spontaneous. You have to almost invite it in. Let me ask you a question. When was the most recent time you experienced or felt joy? Today, Doug says. Today. Oh, sweet. Oh, with Will. I wish I could have seen that. Wow. Isn't that great? These people have they remember. That's good. Well, I experience joy when I'm performing music in front of an audience, or when I'm teaching a big class of people how to play the flute or about Native American spirituality. I experience joy doing that. And I haven't been doing that much in the last couple of years, something called COVID. So I don't know. I think, like this morning when I was watching the news, I kept looking for something good in there. And finally, I switched it to that tiny house channel because, I don't know, that makes me happy. But it's because I think that too often that we can spend too much of our time doom scrolling, on social media, and the way the algorithms work. The longer you spend looking at something, the more it's going to show you that. So go by really, really fast. But those kind of feelings of isolation and doom scrolling, they can lead to what's called feelings of ambiguous grief, which a lot of us have been experiencing, and heightened anxiety. You know what I mean? Earlier this month, I was walking around my neighborhood, and I passed by a few houses with painted rocks I don't know if any of you have seen these little painted rocks that people are painting, little well-worn stones. I've been finding them for the last couple of years just randomly. It's just so neat. I mean, they put a lot of work and attention into doing them. So I like to take pictures of them to post on my social medias as something positive. Well, this time it was real close to St. Patrick's Day, and I was noticing that I was passing all these green stones, and so I looked at this one house, and they were all lined up on their little walkway out front, and there was like green clovers with sparkly things, and there was Happy St. Patrick's Day, but my favorite was a green alien that said St. Patrick's Day Happy. So, like, I can relate to that one. And so the thing is, I doubled back and I picked one up and I took a picture of it that I really liked. And it's like I could feel that energy and that intention of the person who painted it. And then I felt something almost unfamiliar. Joy. So I was like, wait a minute, is there something wrong? What is this? And it was this spontaneous giddiness is the only way that I can describe it, that turned into an unforced smile. Joy. I'd almost forgot what that felt like. And then I was thinking about joy, all the rest of my walk home, and I was kind of chuckling, and my step was a little bit lighter. Then I thought about that program called Tidying Up by Marie Kondo. Have any of you seen that? She's this beautiful Japanese woman, and she's really big in Japan, but she has a show out here, and it's called Tidying Up. She goes into people's homes, and more intimately, she goes into their lives with the goal of decluttering their spaces. Marie begins, and she kneels down in their space, and she lights Palo Santo, which I also use, and then she actually uses tuning forks, and she tunes into that space. She's tuning into that house, trying to get to know it. She's introducing herself to that home. She's part of the Shinto religion in Japan. They believe that there's a divine power behind everything. Sound familiar? So in her efforts to declutter these people's homes and their lives, she has them make piles of their clothes, piles of their stuff, piles of their books, which I think is the funniest thing. People cannot let go of books. I know some of you can relate to that. But what she does is she has them take each item, and she has them hold it and close their eyes, and she makes them say, "Does this spark joy?" And in her cute Japanese way that she does that. Does this spark joy? It's just great. I love hearing that. I'd smile. So they have to ask, does this spark joy? And if this book doesn't spark joy, or these pair of skinny jeans from the 1990s don't spark joy, she makes them either discard them or keep them. And it's hard for people to let go of that kind of stuff. But I think that's such a great question we should be asking ourselves every day. Does this bring joy, what I'm doing now? Does this interaction that I'm having with somebody, does what I'm doing on social media, or if I'm staring at my fish, does this spark joy? Does this bring you joy? And then ask yourself, well, I can let it go, okay? Robin Williams said, "The human spirit is more powerful than any drug. And that is what needs to be nourished with work, with play, with friendship, with family. These are the things that matter." Emerson famously said, "It is a happy talent to know how to play." Do you guys remember what it was like to play for hours and hours? I mean, just play. I remember when I was growing up, and me and my, cousins would be hanging out either at our house or at our aunt and uncle's house or whatever, and then there would come that silence from the adults, and they would say, "You guys go play outside." You go play is an order. In other words, go out and release some of that energy and your rambunctiousness, so we don't have to, or so we can clean the house. My mom on Saturdays, she would say, "You either stay in the house or you go outside and play," and she'd lock the door, and so it's great. So I would ride my bike around for maybe until 6 o'clock in the evening. I remember those days. We would just go play and play. It's a release of creative energy. If you look at our animal kin, they play all the time. They pounce on each other. The tigers or the bears, they pounce on each other. They're learning social skills, but they're also releasing a lot too. Life, this is what Ernest Holmes said about it. He says, life makes things of itself. There is no effort in the process, for creation is the play of life upon itself. When I was a child, I was thinking back. When I was a child, I would get a towel from the linen closet, and I would fasten it with a safety pin around my neck. And I'd go outside armed with a cardboard wand or a cardboard sword and an imagination. And I would play for hours in the backyard, just creating realms and losing time and watching clouds and looking for horny toads, which we had in southeast New Mexico, because I'd like to feed them ants. But, the words I remember most when we played together as kids was somebody would just make this declaration. Okay, let's pretend that you're and that you're and that you're. You remember that? Let's pretend? What a magic word. What freedom in those words. Let's pretend. And pretend and imagine, to me, they live right next door to each other. Rumi and some others, they wrote about what's called the child of the spirit as having an original innocence. This is the child of the spirit for whom all things are new. There's a wonder, there's an ease, there's a playful heart. This child is at home in the reality of the present and able to enjoy, to respond, to forgive, and to share the very blessings of being alive. Thomas Merton, the great desert mystic, wrote about this. He wrote about the moment that his eyes opened to that child of the spirit. And listen to these words. They are so great. He says, "Then it was as if suddenly I saw the secret beauty of their hearts, the depths of their hearts, where neither sin nor desire can reach the core of the reality. The person that each one of us is in God's eyes, if only they could see themselves as they really are, if only we could see each other that way all the time, then there would be no war. There would be no more hatred, no cruelty, no more greed." He says, "I suppose the big problem with this would be that we would fall down and worship each other." That's so great. So all the religions, all the teachings talk about the innocence of the child, and they're not talking necessarily about the innocence of not having hurt anyone yet, but the innocence that we walk into the world where we can let things go, where we don't carry that baggage and we don't have to tell our story every time that we meet. Instead of saying, "Well, let me tell you what happened to me. Okay, well, first, and then my ex, and then this happened." We go, let's pretend. We should do that. Let's pretend that we're all good and healthy and had great childhoods. It'll save us a lot on therapy. So how do we find out what brings you joy? It's pretty easy. I think with this crowd in particular, it's pretty easy to know what brings you joy. But joy is an emotion. It's a state of being that we strive for. And it really doesn't require a lot of work. You have to pretend every day and play often, but a few ways to find joy. What brings you joy is to stay in the present, for one thing. Practice focusing on small moments in the present that spark some joy. Like Marie Kondo says, whether that means playing your favorite song on repeat or planting new flowers in the garden or seeing a good friend, taking time to do something each day, something fulfilling, something fun, big or small, joy just becomes natural. Indulge your five senses. This is a big part of it. Everything you taste and touch and hear and smell and see can affect your mood pretty instantly. So go ahead and have a piece of cake, Light some incense, pet your furry friends, listen to the song that boosts your spirits, watch the sunset, which is great to do here. Anything that can awaken those senses will give you feelings of joy. Next is do something new. Take a Zoom class about something you don't even know anything about. Try a new recipe. Go for a walk on a trail you've never been or a new path. Take yourself to lunch or take your minister to lunch. Just do something joyful. I like it. We'll bring you joy. The other way is to serve others. This is real big. And, I in this lifetime, I have a call to service, and it does bring me joy. So find a way to volunteer for a cause that you believe in, to help out in some way, to offer your services to a nonprofit, get involved in your community. The next one is move. Not like to Carlsbad or something, but move. You can if you want, but dance in the kitchen. I do that all the time. Do you? I really do. I have my favorite Pandora stations. By the way, I have a Pandora station, so listen to it. But I like to put on the Gypsy Kings Pandora station, and I start dancing and go outside and stretch. You know, try Tai Chi. Put almond oil all over your body. Really, really feel your body. Really massage your body. Get to know your elbows. You know. Try the pose that the Olympic runners use. You know that when they cross the finish line, they're big up and they stand like that. In fact, it is shown that if you stand that way for a minute, all the serotonin, all the good hormones, get released into your bloodstream. Just do it where nobody can see you. I'm kidding. You can do it right here. So, in The Art of Life, which is one of my favorite books that Ernest Holmes wrote, it's a fairly short book, very, very poetic. I think he was at his I think at this point he had moved from being less cerebral and more poetic, just in my opinion. But this is what he writes about this, and I'm going to go ahead and ask I'll try to say it again. I'm going to ask the practitioners if you could stand around the room and hold the space, and stay standing, because you're all going to stand here in a little bit. It'll be good, trust me. So, this is what Ernest Holmes writes about it. So try to really absorb these words, internalize them, bring them in. He wrote that only as we give the best we have to every passing experience can we hope to enter into the joy of living. Can anyone enjoy a game unless they enter into the spirit of that game? Every act of life should be a magical rite filled with the wonder. Every coming event should arouse pleasurable anticipation. Whatever we do, the whole of us should be engaged in doing it. Then he writes, there are no half measures to living. I'm going to say that again. There are no half measures to living. Life itself has no adversity. It has no limitation, and consequently, it speaks a straight and affirmative language only. Okay, so speaking of dancing, what I'm going to end with, we're all going to do this. It's going to be fun, if you're able to. If you've ever been to a Native American powwow, they usually end with something called a round dance. Now, this round dance is also called the friendship dance. It used to be called a healing dance. Black Elk wrote that he said, the sky is round, and I have heard that the earth is round like a ball, and so are the stars. The wind in its greatest power whirls. Birds make their nests in circles, for theirs is the same religion as ours. So the round dance is a way to connect with everybody. Now, I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to do a drum beat while you're doing it. But essentially, we're all going to circle from right around here to around this space in here, make a big circle. And as we do, you're going to start to the left, okay? And it's going to go like this. It looks easier than it is. But, so while you're doing it, you can hold your right hand up to the sky, your left hand down to the Mother Earth. If you don't have that kind of coordination, that's okay. You can just hold them out here. Because not everybody does. Okay, let's get up, y'all.
There's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only New Mexico sky. Imagine all the people just living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill, die for. Maybe no religion too. Imagine all the people just living life in peace. Now you may say I'm a dreamer. Well, I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. Imagine no possession. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A world that works for everyone. Imagine all the people just sharing this old world. And you may say I'm a dreamer. Well, I'm not the only one. No, I hope someday you'll join us, and this world will live as one. You may say we're all dreamers. Well, we're not the only ones, no. We hope someday you'll join us, and this world will live as one.
Thank you.
So I was imagining changing the word imagine with pretend in that song. Go home and sing it again with pretend through that whole thing. How perfect that is. We're going to pretend. And as we pretend, as we know that mental equivalent is created in our minds, and we play it out, and that's what begins to manifest in the world. Thank you again to Randy Granger. It was so wonderful to have you here. Thank you. He was just what we needed to lift the spirits through play. Yes? Thank you. And I know Geneva would be happy to see us dancing instead of crying. So I'm so grateful to her. Let's just take a moment. The practitioners are in place. They're ready to pray. So let's just take a moment to settle in, to acknowledge the joy that came up in our hearts as we moved and danced and sang, to acknowledge the sense of grief that was there present, and that we can hold both in our hearts. That Spirit expresses in so many ways through us in this human body, and we're grateful for each and every life that is expressing God right here, right now in this room, for all the emotions that keep us alive, that prove that we are alive, that we are that beautiful light, that candle that Reverend Randy talked about in his first song. We bring that light into the world. We give people the space to express exactly who they are. We hold that light for all those in the world beyond our reach. And we know that that is the truth. Who we are is light and love and it expresses through joy and play. And so I am exceedingly grateful for this morning, for that reminder, for the opportunity to experience that truth. And so we release these words, we allow them to percolate and move in and through our lives throughout the rest of this day, this week, and we just say, thank you, God, as together we say, and so it is. And thank you all to the practitioners for your support. And please know that even though the practitioners are crying, they're here to pray and cry with you, to laugh with you, that we all are still real people with real feelings. And at the same time, when you come to us, it is a gift that we get to move into that space of prayer with you. So if anyone needs some prayer, there are folks here, several of our practitioners here, that can move into that space with you after the service. And again, I just want to thank Randy. It was perfect this morning. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. And this week, again, we are giving 10% of all that comes through the center to Jardín de los Niños, which is a nonprofit organization that provides services of trauma-informed care to children in need of ages 6 weeks to 10 years. If you want more information about them, please see our website. But we are so grateful to be able to share our light in that way with this community. So please repeat after me. Divine love through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I receive, and I left out, and all that I give. And all that I receive, it's all good. Thank you, God in me. Oh, we had to laugh again, and so it is. Thank you all, and Sarah, let's sing.
Okay, I'm so blessed. So blessed.
I'm so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. Oh, I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
Thank you. So I hope you all feel as blessed as I do to be here this morning, to be seen, and to have this amazing community to share all of the things that we experience in life with. I'm so grateful to have each and every one of you present in my life. I'm grateful for the 10 years plus of ministry that I've gotten to serve this community. I'm grateful for all those who have been present through a lot of it. Thank you. And so at this time, again, I'm going to remind you there are practitioners present afterwards to be with you in prayer if that is something that could uplift you further this morning. So if you'd like to stand, we will sing our closing song with Sarah.
Peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, for
blessed week.